Hello everyone! Today we're going to be drawing this cute little bunny in a cup. If you're interested in how I draw out these watermarks and blooms on the cup, please keep on watching. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using the Sublime Watercolor pack, and you can use whatever canvas that is included in the pack. Everything will be linked below. I've drawn a sketch that you can download and use, so what you can do now is go to Add and insert a photo and select the sketch, and here it is. As you can see, the sketch layer is right here. I'm going to select a light gray to add more sketch marks, like as sketch strokes. You can select the 6B pencil from the sketching category, and I'm going to add some loose strokes to the existing sketch, and by doing that you'll make the sketch look a lot more rough and hand-drawn. You don't really have to do this if you don't want your sketch to look so hand-drawn or like really rough. It's just preference and your choice. I kind of like the grungy look, so I'm adding a lot of lines here and there. Also, you can add some interesting patterns to your cup. For example, a heart or even a flower. So I've done my sketch. Now what I'm gonna do is make a new layer on top and make it a clipping mask. And I'm just going to show you a trick. Right now the sketch is in a grayish color, but I'm going to select this light brown and drop it in. That's going to change the color of the sketch, so now it's like brown, light brown. So if you want to change the color of your sketch, you can use this step. But for now, I'm just going to revert back and maybe change it later. So I'm going to delete that layer now and make a new layer and bring it under the sketch, and we're going to start coloring the bunny now. You can download my color palette and use this light beige, and I'm going to use the bold rough brush. You can use whatever brush you'd like the one above, but the bold rough brush is a good default brush. And you can just start to color the bunny. As you can see, I've colored the base layer. Now what I'm going to show you is that every element of the bunny is on separate layers. So I'm going to make a new layer on top of the inner ear layer and make it a clipping mask. And select one of these stamps. I'm going to select the splotch for now. You can use bloom number 1 if you'd like. And pick out a pink. We just used a light pink, so I'm gonna go a shade darker just to test it out. And use this stamp in the inner ear. As you can see, the stamps are able to create this realistic watercolor look on actual paper when it dries. It kind of creates blooms and hard edges, as you can see here. I'm going to now use bloom number 1 and use a darker pink. That was a little bit too dark, but I would like to have the inner corners be a little bit more darker in general, because that's where all the shadows are. Now I'm going to make a new layer on top of the bunny's head and make that a clipping mask, and also add some stamps to the bunny's cheeks and the sides as well. This time I'll be using a slightly light beige, but darker than what we have already used, obviously, and try to make shadows here and there and experiment with the stamps. So I would say that experimentation with different colors and stamps is really key here in elevating your artwork. You can keep on using these stamps to add shadows and make the bunny look more 3D and decorate the ribbon and add some cheeks. Now we're going to start coloring the cup, so let's make a new layer. Just looking for all my layers. I'm going to put my layer on top and start. Oops, I should show you guys what color I'm using. Sorry guys, I have not used Procreate for a while. I've been sick. You can select whatever color you like, but it would be good if it's really light here because the bottom of the cup will be darker. This is like a light teal. And you can color the rim as well. But the inner side, you'll want to color it on a separate layer because you'll want to add stamps for shadows, and it will be a lot more easier if it's on a different layer. And you'll also want to color the handle as well. Now we can make a new layer to color the bottom portion of the cup. So make a new layer and select this color here if you'd like, or you can use whatever color you like. Oops, forgot to show you what brush I'm using. I'm using the watery rough edge brush. And you can just start to color in the cup and just make sure to color around your pattern. And at this point, I'm going to select a darker version of that color and color in the right side of the cup. And this side is going to be darker because of the shadow being on the right side. Using different variations of the same color and blending it out later on will create depth and prevent it from looking too flat. Once you color the darker side, you can select the lighter version of that color, of the same color that we're using, and use it on the left side where the light is hitting. Then you can use the basic blender and gently blend out these overlaps and watermarks. You don't have to blend out every little stroke to kind of leave it in and make it look more authentic. Real watercolor, when it dries, will have some of these marks in there, so I'm not going to try to smooth it all out. I'm going to fill in the center of these flowers as well. Forgot to do that. And now I'm going to make a new layer and make it a clipping mask. And I'm going to try to add some stamps on the bottom and the right side. And as always, I'm starting off with splotch and getting a darker green, well, kind of like a bluish green, and stamping it here and there just to see how it looks like. Again, you can experiment with different shades of teal and try putting it along the right side as well as the bottom. Those are the areas that will have the shadows. You can zoom out to see how it looks like overall. And now I'm going to try to use this other stamp here. It's like bloom number 3. As you can see, it looks pretty unique. If you try using a different color, it will come up really vividly. But that's a little bit too much, so I think I will try to get like a subtle color and just pop it in there. Of course, you don't have to add any of these in if you want your artwork to look smooth. Now I'm adding these stamps to the inside of the cup where there's like a shadow behind the bunny. And of course, you can add some gray strokes on the handle here. It's like a shadow as well. Just to let you guys know, this is all on a new layer. And I'm adding more stamps. And of course, when you add stamps, you want to add a new layer and make it a clipping mask. Adding this brown tone makes the artwork look a little bit more vintage in my opinion. Overall, I think this piece gives a lot of Lisa Glanz vibes. I definitely get inspired a lot by her work because it's all amazing, right? Now I'm going to start coloring in these flowers. And for this, I'm using the hard edge round brush. Now, I don't really love the color that I just used, so I'm going to go to hue, saturation, and brightness and play around with the hue. And just zooming out to see how that looks like. Overall, I feel that this piece needs a little bit more work, so I'm going to keep on adding stamps to make more shadows and create depth, and also add in more pencil lines to the sketch to bring out some definition. So this is the finished piece after adding in more pencil lines and stamps. Definitely looking a little bit more vintage. Personally, I would use these types of illustrations for cards or for children's books. If you have found this tutorial helpful, please subscribe and hit the notification bell and like this video. That would really help me out. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.